Welcome back to another new podcast from the Coatings Pro interview series. My name is Ben Dubose, and I'm the news editor with the AMP Publications team. AMP is the shorthand acronym for the Association for Materials Protection and Performance, of which Coatings Pro is a member magazine. Today, I'm thrilled to welcome in Kevin Page. He's the Vice President of Commercial for Adhesives, Sealants, Coatings, and Spray Foam Insulation at Amrize Building Envelope. Kevin, thank you so much for joining us. Going a little deeper than just your title, tell us a bit about your journey within the industry and what it is that you're doing today at Amrize, what all that your job entails.
Absolutely. First of all, thank you so much, Ben, for having me and for everything that you do to advocate for the industry. It's really great to meet you here for the first time. I've certainly seen your work. So at Amrize we have the Geico and Inverge division, and underneath there we have multiple product lines inclusive of adhesives, sealants, coatings, and spray foam insulation. And that's really our focus area is effectively construction chemicals.
And what are the differentiating factors with Amrize compared to Geico and Inverge? Just explain for people who don't understand how it all works together. There's this big umbrella, but Amrize has its own niche. What specifically is in your wheelhouse?
Absolutely. What we pride ourselves in having a diverse portfolio. We've acquired multiple companies over the years, as well as invested heavily in R&D to continue to innovate, to support contractors and to support the end use areas that we serve. Additionally, we look to differentiate with product support, training, and digital tools to improve contractor efficiency.
And what has the timeline been like the last couple of years? I know you guys are emphasizing Amrize. Just how did we get to where you are right now in 2026?
Absolutely. Amrize was actually IPO'd on the New York Stock Exchange just last June. So Amrize has only been in existence since June of 2025. However, it was a spinoff of Wholesome, a Swiss-based global conglomerate that was primarily focused on concrete, cement, and aggregates. However, over recent years, had heavily invested in the building envelope space, inclusive of the coatings and adhesives business. So that portion of Wholesome was built largely on multiple acquisitions of legacy brands that many of your listeners may know about, such as Geico, Pac Poly, ER Systems, Elastec, Polyspec Thiacol, American Safety Technologies, SES Foam, Geico Spray Foam, etc.
I mentioned leading off the pod that you're the vice president of commercial for adhesives, sealants, coatings, and spray foam insulation. Are contractors, coatings contractors, that is, your general customers? Just who at the end of the day are those end users that you're working with?
Absolutely. I mean, we're very focused on serving the contractors. How they get the material varies by product line. Where we have multiple go-to-market strategies depending on the product. Our products often flow through the channel through distributor partners. However, we all ultimately work for the contractor who's installing the product, and we want to support even if they're not buying directly from us.
Okay, so you guys are in regular dialogue with them, I'm assuming, because obviously you want to make sure that your products are applied and installed the right way, that you're developing products that work for them. I'm guessing there's a pretty regular feedback loop, right?
Absolutely, yeah. We invest heavily in technical service resources that support training events, support site walks, anything that's really needed to support the contractor to make sure the job's done right and that they're comfortable with the application of our products.
Yeah, so based on that work and that dialogue with contractors, where are the areas that right now in the middle of 2026 that you guys are seeing the most demand across the industry? What segments are driving the market?
Demand continues to be strong in areas where performance and durability are critical, including cold storage, data centers, and manufacturing facilities. These are projects that require systems which can handle moisture and temperature fluctuations, which really play directly into the strengths of coatings and spray foam. In cold storage, obviously, insulation performance is key. Spray foam is being specified there more often because it provides continuous insulation and helps control air infiltration. Data centers are another major growth area in new construction. Coating systems are used to protect and extend the life of roofing assets while minimizing downtime. We're also seeing steady demand in commercial repair and restoration. Restoration coatings for roofing really offer a cost-effective way to extend the life of a roof without a full replacement.
To follow up quickly on the data centers, because I know that's relatively new in the mid 2020s, what are some of the unique considerations there? Like, clearly, that's a huge growth area potentially that's only going to increase in the years ahead, according to every projection I've seen. But in terms of, coatings or insulation to protect those facilities, those assets, what's unique about those relative to, I guess, other segments of the market?
It's evolving quickly. I think obviously they need to be high performance envelopes. However, the design considerations have evolved quickly with data centers. The Ultimately, not only do they have to be high performance envelopes, but the timelines are typically expedited. We've seen basically anything that, from a fluid applied standpoint, that can accelerate the schedule is looked upon favorably in that world.
And looking at the other end of the spectrum, we talked about areas of demand, areas of opportunity. There are also challenges that come with that. So, looking at challenges in 2026, what are you seeing on the plate for contractors today as these projects get increasingly complex, such as the data centers that you were just describing?
It's been a kind of a recurring theme over the years, but I think it's frankly more front and center now than ever. But labor continues to be one of the biggest challenges. There's plenty of work to go around, frankly, but skilled labor is a real challenge, and crews are being asked to do more work, often with fewer people. The systems are more advanced. The specifications are more complex. It really raises the bar for proper installation and training. So, and of course, there's always added pressure around cost control and project timelines, especially in these segments like the data centers and cold storage that we talked about, where delays are really not an option. The job's got to get done. So.
Are you seeing any shifts with how contractors are approaching those types of projects? Just speak to how contractors are generally responding to those types of pressures.
Yeah, there's a constant focus on retention, on training, on building a workforce that takes pride in their work and has a vested interest in staying with the company and supporting their growth. But with that is a focus on a partnership, be it piece rate, however they structure that, the focus becomes efficiency and consistency across the job site. So a lot of times that factors into the compensation structure to that we're all incentivized to get the job done right and efficiently. So there's a clear shift towards systems and solutions that simplify installation and reduce the variability between crews. We've seen a lot of folks that lean on manufacturer support. There's of course industry standard training programs as well, such as many that your organization offers. Anything like that where we can educate folks and then help them help themselves from a incentive program standpoint. Ultimately, drives the behaviors that are needed to execute projects and support the bottom line.
You mentioned workforce development and you use terms like training and simplify, which is obviously critical because you want to make sure that the folks applying your coatings and your technologies out in the field are confident in what they're doing so that these solutions can work to the best of their ability. So, beyond just the standard manufacturer's label. I know you guys in the 2020s are putting a big emphasis on digitally making sure that resources are available to help contractors and make sure that they're applying these systems as intended. What are the ways that you all think digitally in terms of innovation, resources to make sure that contractors are working efficiently?
It starts on the front end. So ultimately, if the estimating's not done right, the job's not planned right, your applicators are set up to fail. So that's one area we've invested in is building out digital tools to support the job planning, job tracking. That ultimately will dictate how if there is an opportunity to succeed once the job starts. And so that's an area we continue to invest in. We have a digital app, for instance, with our invert spray foam. It has little tech tip shorts. We little 1 minute quick hit, explain XYZ. That was really well received. Just kind of generationally, that's what everyone's used to doing now, right? Is you want to change out the side view mirror on your car. You just you go on YouTube and watch a 30-second video and you're good to go. So that's what we're trying to align to the current consumption methods of training content.
And in terms of technologies at Amrize, what are in your wheelhouse in terms of the types of coatings, the types of solutions, just speaking to the breadth of options that you all have available at a high level? What are some of the most popular solutions?
Yeah, and that's really at a high level. That's what we pride ourselves in is having a really broad portfolio, and that we're able to bring multiple solutions to the table and let the building owner decide what makes the most sense to them. So, I mean, we have quite a bit of expertise in manufacturing capability and urethane chemistries, acrylic, silicone, and bonding adhesives, butyl tapes, you name it. So we're looking to continue to expand that portfolio and our offerings.
And then in terms of the conversations with contractors and asset owners, probably more contractors, but they're obviously factoring in input from asset owners. There can be a big difference in terms of price between those types of technologies. So you have to consider, certainly upfront cost is one factor, but also there's long-term savings if you choose a system that's going to perform better over a long period of time. So what's the balance like? What are those conversations like when you're trying to get contractors and asset owners to find a system that makes sense both for the short and the long term, and getting people to make the investment that makes the most sense for a given project?
Yeah, we absolutely we have a building science director, and we try to continually do our own analysis to enable contractors to sell multiple systems and present options to building owners. One example is in the residential construction realm. So for spray foam insulation, that's an industry I've been in for quite some time, and you always hear, it's kind of funny when I've heard it said many times that people say, spray foam's more expensive, and the answer is always at first, right? So it can be more expensive for the initial install, but you gain a savings over the life cycle of the home. And so we have, of course, data and many studies that back that up, and we can run the energy models and present that case to a builder and in support of a contractor who wants to gain that builder's work for installing spray foam in homes.
And finally, for the remainder of 2026 and perhaps beyond, are there any changes that you potentially see on the horizon in terms of, demands from the market, needs from installers and contractors? Is there anything that you see changing over the next few months or even couple of years that's going to be different than the conversation we're having right now about the way things have looked in recent months?
I think understanding the different systems is critical. The needs are gonna continue to evolve. The efficiency aspect is not going to go away. The demand for consistent quality applications are not going to go away. Ultimately, the different sectors are going to go through different demand cycles, but that focus on efficiency and consistency and quality of application isn't going anywhere. If anything, if that bar will continue to rise.
That's Kevin Page, Vice President of Commercial for Adhesives, Sealants, Coatings, and Spray Foam Insulation at Amrize Building Envelope. Kevin, for anyone listening that might want to learn more from Amrize or from you, what are the best ways that they can do that? What are some of those digital resources that they can turn to if someone listening wants more information from you or the team?
Absolutely. We'd love to hear from you. Visit invergesprayfoam.com to explore product details, access training modules, and request access to the Inverge app. You can there's calculators and other digital tools you can use firsthand. Please follow Inverge on social media. You can follow Geico as well on social media, and then check out the Geico.com site for product details with that portfolio.
Sounds great. Kevin, thank you so much for the time today.
Thank you, Ben.
Absolutely. And with that, we'll put a bow on this episode. For Kevin Page, I'm Ben Dubose, news editor with the AMP Publications team. And if you want more resources from us, just check out amp.org, ampp.org. That's the website for the Association for Materials Protection and Performance. Or you can go to coatingspromag.com. That's the website for Coatings Pro Magazine, which is a member magazine of AMP. All right, with those slides complete, we'll adjourn for today. For Kevin Page, I'm Ben Dubose. As always, we appreciate you guys and girls so much for listening, and please come back soon for more new episodes from the Coatings Pro interview series.